Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss some more concepts from evolution.
Concept of species. Biological species. Mayer in 1942 defined species as a reproductively isolated group of individuals. Sibling species. When two species are morphologically identical but do not normally interbreed. Polytypic species. Morphologically and geographically separated species grouped together on the basis of interbreeding. Lumpus, population, or smaller taxa are grouped into single species or larger taxon respectively. Splitters. They tend to focus on minute differences and based on these differences divide the same population or a larger taxon into separate species or small taxa. What is the species? Species is the basic unit of taxonomy. A species may be defined in a number of ways in various biological aspects. Genetically, the species is defined as a group of organisms that show a distinct similarity in the karyotype. Morphologically, a species can define as a species is a distinct and recognizable group of similar organisms. Ecologically, species are defined as a group of organisms that share the same ecological niche. Interbreeding. Based on the interbreeding, the species is defined as a group of organisms that can interbreed and produce a fertile offspring in nature. The above criteria are too simple to understand a species. There are a number of species where the organisms may look different and yet they belong to the same species. A number of widely separated, genetically isolated populations called demes. A deme perpetuates itself by interbreeding. Here perpetuates means continues. So a deme continues itself by interbreeding. The evolution of the deme is dependent on the gene pool. So already we know the gene pool and the definition is given again here. The sum total of all the different genes in the population. Total of all different genes in the population is called a gene pool. The population that occupy different geographical areas encounter different environmental conditions and natural selection pressures. The forces of mutation and selection within a population help it to get adapted to the environment and produce phenotypic variations. Here the phenotypic means the external features. Produce the variations in the external features. If the members of the various populations are the able to interbreed, they are still considered the same species. Example, human species Homo sapiens occupies a wide geographical area all over the earth. Different populations living in different geographical areas experience such a variety of environmental conditions that they differ and can easily be distinguished from each other. In spite of the morphological differences, all human populations can interbreed, and so are the members of the same species. It is clear the human population is widely spread on this earth, but there are some morphological differences between these human beings, which those who are living in different continents. For example, if you are consider the people or maybe a human population living in Africa, and we know their phenotypic variations, that means external features, they are somewhat taller than Japanese and darker than Japanese, but Japanese people are shorter and they are white. So they may have variations phenotypically, external features. But in spite of morphological differences, all human population can interbreed. That means we may heard that or maybe see in different newspapers or channels. Some of the Indian people may marry the Americans, or maybe Chinese, or maybe Japanese, or like that some Africans may marry that Americans. So that means here, even though they have morphological differences, but they are interbreed. So that's why all human species are comes under same species, that is Homo sapiens. Sapiens are the species. So all humans comes under the species sapiens, even though they have some morphological differences, some phenotypical variations. That phenotypical variations is due to the different environmental conditions in that geographical area. Species and isolation. Reproductive isolation in species. The population of various species may occupy adjacent or widely dispersed geographical areas. If they interbreed to form a fertile offspring, they are put under one species. The members of two species look very much alike but do not interbreed in nature. They are categorized into two different species. The reproductive isolation is the most important boundary between different species. This is the reason for two different species showing distinct structural and functional differences. So what is meant by a speciation? So speciation is the process by which one or more species arise from previously existing species. So in this reproductive isolation, in this concept, it is very clear that the individuals or maybe species which are interbreed together, they are comes under same species. They are put under one species. Even though the species are much alike, much closer, they are not interbreed, then they are called as the other species, two different, even though they are alike structurally, morphologically alike, but they are not interbreed, then they are considered as two different species. Geographical isolation in species. On the basis of geography relationship, new species can form by the following modes. So already we are defined this speciation, formation of one or more new species from the previously existing species. So that speciation may be intraspecific speciation or may be interspecific speciation. And again, this intraspecific speciation is of two types. That is allopatric speciation and sympatric speciation. So On the basis of geographical relationship, the new species can form by these following modes: either intraspecific speciation, in that again allopatric speciation, sympatric speciation, or new species can form by interspecific speciation. Origin of species. The new species are formed pre-existing species. When the populations belongs to the same species get genetically isolated, they become more and more different over a period of time and give rise to new species. Here the meaning isolated is nothing but separated. The genetic or reproductive isolation could be due to various geographical and other reasons. Speciation can take place by a number of different mechanisms. Intraspecific speciation. New species may arise due to changes within a species called intraspecific speciation. Here, intra means within the same species, within the same species. So, the new species arise due to changes occur within the same species. Then it is called as the intraspecific speciation. A number of small changes within the same species accumulating in a species over number of generations may also gradually lead to the formation of a new species. Interspecific speciation. Here inter means between. So new species may also arise due to interspecific hybridization. The cross between two different species interbreed and give rise to fertile hybrid or maybe sterile hybrid. Two different species. We can say that donkey and horse. The cross between donkey and horse both are two different species, and it produces a product called as a mule. It is a sterile hybrid. Sterile means it does not reproduce again. That means if you want to produce a mule again, you need to cross the donkey and horse again. But mule does not produce a new mule. And a fertile hybrid, that means a cross between tiger and lion. It produces a liger. It is a product of cross between two different species, that is a tiger and lion. So, but this liger is a fertile hybrid. Means the liger can produce their younger ones, but a mule cannot produce their younger one. That's why it is called as sterile hybrid. If you want to produce a mule, again you need to cross the donkey as well as horse. But if you want to produce the new liger, the liger itself, it is a fertile, it can produce their younger ones. Allopatric speciation. Speciation can also take place when members of a population migrate or isolated by the formation of barriers. With time, the populations experience different environmental conditions and adapt themselves accordingly. Ultimately, they become so different that they fail to interbreed. The reproductive isolation leads to the formation of new species. So look at this picture here. So in this, the fishes are living in a pond, and suddenly a barrier is occurs here. So some of the fish species are separated, isolated into two groups. So here, based on their environmental conditions on the separation, some of the fishes they got the wings. according to their environmental conditions. Means they adapt according to the environmental condition. And some fishes, they are as it is. There is no any such adaptations to that environment. So they are living in the same. Now, when time is progressing, they completely different. Those fishes got wings. They are completely different. So that's why they are failed to interbreed. That from where they are separated from that fishes, they cannot interbreed. So that's why we will consider that these species are a different species compared to this, even though all these are belongs to same ancestry, but all these two are formed from the previously existed fishes only. But the change here, the wings are the phenotypic variation. That phenotypic variation because of the different environmental conditions where they are living. So that's why they are adapted to that character. So when time is progress, these fishes are not interbreed with these fishes. So that's why these fishes are considered as the different species, and these species are considered as a different species because they cannot interbreed. So reproductive isolation, that means based on that interbreeding. If they are interbreed, they comes under same species. If they not interbreed, then they are considered as different species. So allopatric speciation is occurred due to formation of barrier between the same group of population, or they may migrate to different places and they develop into a new species. Here it is a clear representation of allopatric speciation. So a species distributed in a wide range or in a population. So these are all the species distributed in a population. So presence of physical barrier like mountain range or a large body of water or fissure divides the population into two or more populations. So a barrier divides the previously it is a single population. Due to barrier, it become into two groups of populations. As the barrier widens, the barrier is increases a long period of time. The interbreed does not takes place and population become genetically distinct. So they lose the capacity to interbreed, reproductive isolation. That's why the new species A and new species B is evaluated. Sympatric speciation. Speciation can take place when members of a population that occupy the same geographical area. It is due to the development of some form of reproductive isolating mechanism that arises due to natural selection within a geographical confined population. The isolation may be due to structural, physiological, behavioral, or a genetic change. The species remain distinct and do not interbreed but coexist in the same geographical area. So sympatric speciation is occurred members of the same population occupying the same geographical area. So allopatric speciation, that is due to formation of this barrier, they are isolated into two geographical area. But in sympatric speciation, in the same geographical area, the speciation will develop in a population. So it is due to development of some reproductive isolating mechanisms. So that reproductive isolating mechanisms is developed is due to the natural selection. So as a result, they may isolated, separated from that existing population due to structural. That natural selection may bring that structural change or physiological change or behavioral change or maybe a genetic change that leads to isolate from that group of population, and they are living as a separate and they cannot interbreed. So when they are not interbreed with the existing population, then they are considered as a new species. Polyploidy. The organisms having greater number of chromosomes are referred as polyploidy. Greater or maybe more number of chromosomes referred as a polyploidy. It involves doubling of the whole sets of chromosomes. Polyploidy is far more common in plants than in animals. About 1/3 of all plants are polyploids. It may arise naturally or artificially. Polyploidy can be induced by the use of certain drug called colchicine. That means if you want to induce the polyploidy artificially, we need to apply a drug colchicine. Polyploidy is used to improve varieties of certain plants. That means polyploidy is the most useful method in the plant breeding. The allopolyploid plants are formed when the chromosome number in a hybrid is doubled. So now let's know about what is that allopolyploid. Allopolyploid, when organisms contain two or more sets of chromosomes that are from different species. Allopolyploid offspring will have the genetic makeup for two different species, which makes it a hybrid. Polyploid species often have greater tolerance for harsh climatic conditions and have high economic value. So allopolyploid, when organism contain two or more sets of chromosomes that are from different species. Species A consists 14 chromosomes or maybe 12 chromosomes. Species B consists 14 chromosomes. When these two are crossed during plant breeding mechanism and the alloploids get the two sets of chromosomes, that means 12 plus 14, 26 chromosomes are present in that offspring. Such offsprings we will consider as allopolyploid. So it's a genetic makeup for two different species which make it a hybrid. So let's consider an example of this polyploid. It is useful for development of a high yield variety of wheat. So a species of wheat, Triticum monococcum. So it's a diploid condition, number of chromosomes present in that 14 chromosomes are present. This Triticum monococcum is bred with or crossed with wild grass, Aegilops speltoides. That is a wild grass. It also consists of 14 chromosomes. So the result of this breed is Eumer wheat. The scientific name is Triticum durum. So what we will call the offspring of that cross, we will call as the allopolyploids. Allopolyploids having the two sets of their parents. That is 14 plus 14. It consists 28 chromosomes. Now, when this Emer wheat, that is Triticum durum, with the 28 chromosomes, again crossed with a wild grass, that is Aegilops squarosa. It is another species in that Aegilops genus. It consists of 14 chromosomes, and this cross produces Triticum aestivum, high yielding variety of wheat, Triticum aestivum. It consists, that is 14 plus 28, total 42 chromosomes. And this Triticum aestivum is a hexaploid condition, 6n. How 6n? So that means 14 plus 14, 2n plus 2n, 4n, and again another 2n, that is total 6n. So hexaploid condition. So Triticum aestivum is a polyploid. Its chromosome number is hexaploid. Diploid means 2n, two sets, but 6 sets of chromosomes are present in the Triticum aestivum. So here it is a representation of that what we discussed in the cross, that is Triticum monococcum, that is a diploid number of chromosome 14, and Aegilops speltoides, it consists 14 chromosomes. One it crossed, it produced the Triticum durum, so it is a allopolyploid. That means this hybrid having 2 sets of chromosomes of the parents. So it is a hybrid, but it consists 2 sets of the chromosomes. And next, this Triticum durum, again crossed with Aegilops squarosa, and it consists 14 chromosomes, and Triticum durum, it is 28 chromosomes. So when the cross occurs between these two, it produces a Triticum aestivum. It is highly yielding wheat variety. It tolerate the harsh conditions, and it is economically having good values. Triticum aestivum, and it is a hexaploid. It consists 6n condition of chromosome. So 2n 14 and 2n 14, and here again 2n 14, total 2n plus 2n plus 2n, total 6n condition of this Triticum aestivum. So it is the diagrammatic representation of that cross in a plant breeding. Triticum monococcum, it is a breed with Aegilops speltoides, and it produces a wheat variety Triticum durum. And again the Triticum durum is crossed with Aegilops squarosa, and then it gives the hexaploid plant Triticum aestivum. Interbreeding under captivity. Some species do not interbreed in nature, but may breed under captivity, means under laboratory conditions. They may breed under captivity. They may produce in such conditions through, that means they interbreed under captivity. They may produce fertile or maybe sterile offspring. The offsprings produced is called as hybrid through this interbreeding. So interbreeding, already we defined the cross between the two different species. In nature, the cross does not occur, but it may occur in laboratory condition. Means they may collect the semen from the male, and it may transfer to the female of the another species. Now examples. So example of sterile hybrid, that means interbreeding between the two different species. The resultant one is the sterile hybrid. So that is a male donkey and female horse. Female horse is called mare. So male donkey and female horse. This cross results the mule. And the differences we can find the ear size and all given in the picture. So male donkey and female horse, that is a mule. Product hybrid is mule and it is sterile. Means if you want to produce the new mule, again you need to interbreed between that male donkey and female horse. And another example is the male horse stallion, male horse crossed with female donkey. That means it is reciprocal. So male horse and female donkey, it gives a hybrid name, henny. The examples of interbreeding which produces the fertile hybrids. So previously which produced sterile hybrids. So tiger and lion. So it gives a liger. So it is a fertile one. So lion and tiger cross between that, it produces the liger. This is a fertile. That means this liger can produce their younger one. Polar bear and Alaskan brown bear. Polar bear is a white, pure white. The cross between the two, it produces the younger one. That is a fertile one. And mallard, it is a duck and pin-tailed duck. This cross between these two, it gives the fertile hybrid. Models of speciation. There are two accepted models of speciation that have given rise to biodiversity. Different kinds of living organisms on earth are called as biodiversity. So there are two accepted models of speciation, formation of new species that have given rise to the biodiversity. Now, first model, that is phyletic gradualism model. Two species from common ancestor gradually become more and more structurally different, acquiring adaptations unique to each other. Darwin believed that evolution is slow and gradual process. That means Darwin expectations is supporting this gradualism model. So look at this representation here. Two species from common ancestor. This is a ancestor. Two species. One, two species gradually become more and more structurally different. So phenotypic structure. One it times come. It is entirely different from this. But these two are formed from the common ancestor. And then evolution of a new species. And second model called as punctuated equilibrium. A new species arises through major changes in the beginning and then remain constant for long periods before changing. This model was suggested by paleontologist Niels Eldridge and Stephen Jay Gould. Proposed this punctuated equilibrium, once observe this, arises through the major changes in the beginning. So it is the ancestor. So the species or arises due to the major changes in the beginning. That's why due to that major changes, the two species are formed. Then remain constant. So that means there is no change in the species here and here. Remain constant for longer periods before changing. So before changing the time period, the longer period they cannot change. So here the possibilities. So this is the ancestor. It is constant for first it produced the two types of different species, and these two species are constant for several years. They are not changing. After that, again, they may change their structure. But finally, if you are observed, here initially it is only one species with this coloration on their wing on the body. But here, after time period, some time period, from the same ancestor, phenotypical variations are three types. Phenotypical variation. This is a one type based on their coloration, second type, and there are three different species are evaluated. Thank you, students. We will discuss the last concept of this evolution in the next part.